Oh god, what have I done? I left that light on. Is that light bothering you? It's bothering me. We're gonna deal with it now. I'm here, I swear. Look at the way I walk. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know that I'm a wounded man. Alright. Let's get up this ladder.
Welcome.
Let's start the day with a mirror match, shall we?
Are you ready?
Oh, hope everybody's having a good one. I am pumped and raring to go. I'm feeling fat. I'm feeling not great about like my body, but I feel like that is that body dysmorphia that comes with getting in shape. So I'm gonna. Okay, I forgot where I was a second ago. So now that I know where I am, ooh, what happened there? Yeah, my controller's being a little weird. There it is. Oh, I fucked up. I totally lost track of my health. How you doing today, Slash? Hope you're having a good one. Nice. It's tasty. Sounds delicious. Oh. Whoa! There we go. We're off to a good start. Alright. I hit the lab before we started, though. That, the combo thing. So I did my combo homework today. Uh-oh. I don't have that either. It didn't. Two of them were a hell of a lot of work for me, for my little brain. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Oh! Too early. Okay. Touch early on that one.
Duel 3. Let's rock.
Fair enough. So we're at 1-1, right? We're good. We're good. We're good.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Oh, okay. Oh, he's got a read on me now. Is that what I was doing? Fair enough. You got me first round every time. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Let's rock.
Oops. I'll take it.
Slap.
That's good. That was absolute madness. Also want to point out that most of the combos for this, for Testament, seem to be slash based. Slash, heavy slash, heavy slash. Close slash, hard slash. Let's see.
Are you ready?
Yeah. It feels like the punches and the kicks tend to lead in on certain things. So. So besides having some awesome Chinese food, how's your night going, Slash?
Let's rock.
Oh, fair enough. Fair game. Wow! Oh my god!
Duel 2. Let's rock.
Whoa! I'd say great minds think alike, but I'm one of those minds, so. Was it fools seldom differ is the other line?
あなたも一杯いかがかな。
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Slash will punish throw? Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Duel 3. Let's rock.
That just happened. We both fucking teleported at each other, yeah.
今日も長風呂しよう。
This guy's tired of me, I guess.
Are you ready?
Giovanna, you say?
Mankind knew that they cannot cheat. Duel 1. Let's rock.
Wrong way, Jason.
Duel 2. Let's rock.
It loaded up on that one. Whoops, wrong direction. Okay, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. Whoop, that was not a loss, Jason. That was a win.
あなたも一杯いか
Duel 1.
Okay, we can do this. We can do
Let's
this.
rock.
That hitbox on fucking was bullshit. If I was that guy, I'd be like, what? For some reason, I went on a binge of philosophy video essays this time around, and I remember being a few of them. Oh, cool! That'll be fun to watch. Keep an eye on. Is it like a philosophy or like breakdown of? I know there's a ton of psychology you could probably do about trauma and everything like that. It's like Berserk's about a story about characters taking trauma. Like that's the fucking thing in a nutshell.
Slap.
私は
Duel 3. Let's rock.
I don't know why I led it with that.
行きます 行きます
Oh, cool, cool, cool. There we go.
Slap.
己の力量をわきまえる
Duel 1.
Okay.
Let's rock.
That was birth time. There we go. Character ideologies, themes it represents.
Let's rock.
The one secret chapter. Is that the... Oops. When you say secret chapter, is that like the prototype that never got released?
あなたも一杯いかがかな
Because I know, I can't remember which of the big volumes of it, but Dark Horse did release like the prototype book. I think that was the one that got released, but then pulled back. Really? There's a wow. I hope Dark Horse releases that in one of the books. That'd be cool.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Amelia, is it me?
Are you ready?
Like, it's gotta be, it's either me or the station is run, right? Right after Griffin, come on.
Are you ready?
So does it cover the from Griffith's point of view, eh? I don't think I want to hear his point of view anyway. I wonder if that's what they cover in the game.
Let's rock.
This is about growing more about what they finds in the egg. Okay, I'd never heard of this.
Slap.
そろそろ一息入れよう。あなたも一杯いかが？
I understand. 100%.
Are you ready?
It's gonna be May. Alright, you dolphin using that.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Fair enough. I totally got stomped on that.
Let's rock. Slap.
Well then. Right?
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Oh, just constant.
Duel 2.
He's good.
Let's rock. Slap.
This May is gonna put me back a bit. Oh, they moved up a floor. I'm shocked. Get off of my floor. Nah, it's 10 o'clock. It's like I heard a squeaking door. Invasion of the Frog. Good night. They have a decade for tomorrow, or no? Nothing special for tomorrow. Good, because it's effectively Friday tomorrow. Our kid has. They wanted the kids to come into school with different fashion styles, and the risk of sounding old, it was the 2000s, the 90s, and the 80s. Decades I was alive for. My kid was not alive for the early 2000s. Actually, it would have been late early 2000s. Right? Yeah. They were born 2000. Where are we looking? Where are we looking? Is this poor Eno being tormented? Are they being mean to you, Eno? Why did the timer not start earlier? What's the matter with you, sir?
Are you ready?
It's Demelia. At this point, I know that it's Demelia.
Are you ready?
The old... Oh, he caught that. Nice. Yup! Great minds think alike. Fools seldom differ, as they say.
Let's rock. Duel 2. Let's rock.
Whoop.
Slap.
Right, yeah. I was messing around with that at on my pregame training mode there. I got disconnected?
Network. Welcome.
Care to try again?
Are you ready?
Jay Bird versus Jay the Gamer. Let's go, Jays. Battle of the Jays. Testament fight. Jay.
Man.
Which Jay owns Testament?
Duel 1.
Run it back.
Let's rock.
Good move. Fair enough, fair enough.
Duel 2. Let's rock. Slap. Duel 3. Let's rock.
Gotcha. Surprise from the other side.
己の力量をわきまえろ。
Did I knock him down? Them's the brakes, my dude. Yeah, Yeah, I'm trying to use, like, if I'm gonna be using the teleport as much as I can, I tend to lean on the teleport more than lean on the bird, which is bad strategy. I know, I understand, but if I'm gonna do it, might as well make it worth it and use the throw when I'm doing it, right?
Are you ready?
Yeah, he doesn't want any. He doesn't want this smoke anymore. Who's coming? Who is coming? Are you a Biken who's just dressing like a Biken and play somebody else? Or are you a Biken? You're a Biken. Okay, Biken. You are either the bane of my existence or not even remotely a problem. Let's find out, shall we?
Duel 1. Let's rock.
I am not 6P'ing when I'm supposed to. Let's go. There it is. Just gotta keep him at bay. Okay, yeah, I kind of deserve that. Good catch. I'm blocking, right? I'm blocking. Doesn't work that way. Gotcha. Fair enough. I got a little sloppy in the middle there.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
I don't know what happened there. I didn't mean to push those buttons, but that's what happens when you have fat fingers. I hate that super so much. I hate that super so much. I should have gone with the 6P. What the fuck's matter with me? That's fine. That happens. They moved up a floor, okay. I am the gatekeeper! I either knock you down or push you up. That's how this is gonna go today. I gotta pop to the washroom. I'll be right back. Okay. Testament Ram. Gonna go fight. I wonder. I'm still haven't figured that match out yet. I have a good idea what my plans usually are, and the Ram matchup, but okay.
Let's rock.
Oh, thank you. Oh, nice throw. God, we're so pink. Look at us. but that's on me.
センター
Not that I'm complaining. I love the pink. Who am I kidding? Oh shit, here we go.
Slap.
今日は長風呂しよう
Man. Duel
It did.
one.
It was only the second round, though, right? Coming from behind. Come on, block button.
Slap. Duel two. Let's rock.
Okay. Here we go.
Slap.
She's like, I'm coming. You see me? You didn't want that smoke anymore, I guess. That's fair. Testament fight over there. Looks like the Rams is kind of perving. Like, what are these Testaments doing? What you guys doing? What you guys doing in there? Is that Rand giving me the cold shoulder over there? Hey, Anji. Back for more? You're just gonna sit there staring at me.
Are you ready?
Oh, he's an Axel now. Uh-oh. How do we do this one? I think we need to burb. Are we bourbon? We bourbon the Axel? I mean, this guy was an Anji earlier. Maybe he's just in a bad mood.
Duel one. Let's rock.
This is probably not a reflection of the matchup at this point. Oh. Oh, it.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Beating this shit. That's what the stick is made for. I'm good. How you doing, Skeleton Daddy? Hope you're having a good night.
Duel 2.
Whoop! I double tapped on that one. That's my bad. Fair enough. There's something wrong outside the door. Oh, Jesus Louise.
Duel 3. Let's rock.
Oh, too early on the burst. He got me. He got me. Apparently this is how this is gonna go. I either pummel the shit out of him, or he pummels the shit out of me. There's no in between.
Let's rock.
Should have gone in with low slash, not hard slash. It's on me.
Let's rock. Slap.
やめとかよかったのに。
100% got sloppy on there. But yes, on this channel, we support physical health as well as mental health. Alright, excellent. Fair enough. Excuse me. And we will not shame a gym, no matter how wacky they tend to be as far as rulings are concerned. Everything's overblown about it anyway. Ah, god damn it. Alright. Hold on a second. I have to get the camera in the right direction on that one. Oh. Oh. You're getting bad camera angles for it. You're just gonna have to deal with it. One, two, one. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you, Skeleton Daddy. Much appreciated. Gotta get them abs worked out. Ooh, a Saul. Have I fought a Saul yet since I started playing Testament?
Are you ready?
Oh.
Mankind knew that they cannot change society. Duel 1.
Alright, what do we got? So where are you gonna start? Are you gonna focus more on cardio? Focus on getting them gains in the weights? Main cardio and okay, cool. Uh-oh. Damn! Damn! That was close. Come on, Saul. You know we gotta do this. Roll this back again. Come on. What'd you cook tonight? Okay, here we go.
Duel 2. Let's
Oh, I love jambalaya. Oh! Outplayed me on that one. Outplayed me on that one. Fair enough. Guy is air dashing a lot, and I really should be punishing him for it.
Duel 1. Let's rock. Slap. Duel 2.
Heartburns.
Let's rock.
Well, that's nice. Cooking 2 different meals to help somebody who's. I find I have to do that a fair bit because Amber's been having a rough reaction to gluten lately. So when we have pasta night, I have to cook 2 different pastas. Not a huge deal for me because I'm pretty damn proficient in the kitchen.
Slap.
I think it's more of an issue with her fibromyalgia, though.
Let's rock.
Fair enough. Oh, come on now. Damn! He snaked that from me. He snaked that from me. I'm always kind of sketchy on leftover salmon, but as long as it tastes good and you cook the hell out of it. I love broccoli as a food, especially ever since I started calorie counting. It's like, it's filling, but it's also not heavy in the calorie numbers too. So like, you can eat like a quarter pound of broccoli as an example, and you've had 88 calories. You'll be pooping it out later too because it's high in fiber. So. Sorry, not a quarter pound, half a pound, 250 grams, quarter kilogram. That's what I was thinking of. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, cucumbers too. You can fill yourself up on cucumbers. It's like, I ate like 10 calories. Ranch is a hella dangerous dressing, man. It's fucking tasty as hell, but when you get that tasty, you're dealing with things like a lot of fat and sodium.
Duel 2. Let's rock.
You slap it on veggies.
Duel 3. Let's rock.
No! God damn! God damn!
ここはイグアスじゃないんだよ。
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Oh! Almost fucking threw that one. It is Amber's work there, and we'll tell you, it's not all as chopped up to me. It's hard to say. They're actually less of a game store around here. It's where you get your like knickknacks and stuff. Unfucking believable. My dash button let me down.
食べる気
Duel. Let's rock.
ダメですね
Duel 2. Let's rock.
帰れる
Slap.
Okay, sorry. I need a job. I would love to just stock stuff, but at the same time, I need to. I know I need the face-to-face customer experience. Do you though? Do my first job. I'm thinking about Food Lion. Oh, that's. I'm guessing is that a grocery store chain? Face-to-face customer experience. Your mom works retail. I worked one retail job ever in my life, and it was Games Workshop. Yes, the guys that make Warhammer. It was After that, I worked a lot of back of the house kitchen jobs, and then you know, I work in games now, so
Are you ready?
this is as customer facing as I get. Keep the customer at very far arm's length. Would love to work at a craft store, but can't because it would be a conflict. Why would it be? What do you mean conflict of interest? Do you not like arts and crafts?
Duel 1. Let's rock.
No! Mom is an assistant manager, should be manager Joanne. Nah. Isn't Joanne's like a fabric store anyway? And that's hardly anything anybody there is gonna give a shit about. Unless there's some like or specifically work at Joanne's. Then it's definitely not a conflict. My mom works for another one. I know, obvious. I think, to be honest, it's a massive overthinking. If you think you want to work in an arts and crafts store, but because your mom works at a competitor's chain that you should work, that's bullcrap. Especially when we're talking about like retail at chain craft stores. You're not doing any damage to anybody's business. Unless your mom is sitting there telling you to fucking sabotage it, which I swear to God, if that happens, well, that's actually illegal. So. Right?
Duel 1.
But Mom, I need my job. That's the other thing too. It's like, think about the, like, in reality, what are the long-term gains of you working for a place and sabotaging it? Like, this guy's kind of doing the same things. Love to do a pet store. Mom knows manager at pet supplies. People. Honestly, yeah, I get that one. That's the one I get. If it's like, if there's people at those places you don't want to work, so. Nobody wants to work in a mall. I am the gatekeeper tonight. I may not be going up in floors, but I'm sending people down and I'm sending people up. That's what I am. Call me Vince Clortho, baby. Anybody who gets that specific reference.
Are you ready?
Fuck you, Nago. You fight me now, Naga, you rookie! Soul help me! Yeah, but your mom's a manager.
Are you ready?
I guess the 5th floor is a little dry. go.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Oh, good hold. I played a little sloppy in some of that, so. Oh, fair enough. She just didn't have the right drip. Alright, thanks for dropping by, Skeleton Daddy. You have a good night. And don't forget to hit that pump. Is that red? It looks brown to me. Oh, fair enough. Weak ass punch.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
The purple one. Okay. I'll take a look at that one too. Is that the last one? 10 or 11 or whatever? Why the fuck did they have a line of skins that are denim
そろそ
color?
ろ一息入れよう。あなたも一杯いか
You got a problem with the Canadian tuxedo there, bud? If you got a problem with the Canadian tuxedo there, I'll take you outside and I'll tell you a little thing about it there. Alright, made it to the 8th floor. Fine. Only took me 32 games today. How many games until I'm kicked out of this floor, though, is the real question.
Are you ready?
Zato, it's been a while, buddy.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. It would. Saul is already in best mode anyway, right? You'd say he's invested in the game. Fuck you.
Slap. Duel 3. Let's rock.
Yes, it's hard to hit, but it's worth it if he gets the hit. It's kind of like Eno's in that way, right? It's not the big dramatic animated super, but that's supposed to be 6p, and I fucked up.
Slap.
But yeah, it pops out faster too, and like than the other one.
1. Let's rock.
Okay.
Slap. Duel 2. Let's rock.
Okay, fair enough. You got me.
Slap. Duel 3. Let's rock. Slap.
Started to catch on, and then he changed it up. I didn't catch on to that.
Duel 1. Let's Duel 2. Let's
Fuck. He gets the hit, man.
slap.
今から私が上司だ。
That was tough. Not really mad. A lot of testaments up here, eh? You know what? I'm gonna let the game decide where I'm fighting. Yeah, Zato can be overwhelming. That's what I have found about him.
Are you ready?
Gio doesn't want the smoke.
Are you ready?
Potemkin. This is where they live usually, right? CT Soul Stealer. Is he going to steal my soul, or am I going to steal his soul?
Mankind. Duel 1. Let's rock. Very nice.
Yeah, no. There she be. Really? I'm not looking forward to this then.
対象の沈黙を確認。次の任務を与える。
Okay.
Duel 1. Let's rock. Duel 2. Let's rock.
Damn. Can't get that timing right. Okay, that wasn't going well anyway.
Duel 3. Let's rock.
We tried. We had one good round in there, but I think that was his bad round, so... Yeah, okay. Get back down there! You do not belong here! I tasted it. I really like Testament. That's the problem. Like, as a character, and just like the way they play, I'm kind of okay with them. But all right, we're gonna go to the washroom and then we're gonna come back. It's not a problem as much as it is like I was doing better with Eno, I think, as far as consistency was concerned. I still don't quite have my Testament consistency up, and I think that's where my problem lies right now. Anyway, I'm gonna pop to the washroom. I'll be right back. All right. All right, when we know what to do at this hour.
Dares to a testament.
Is this the purple one you're talking about? It's just that's the scythe that's purple. Oh! Okay, yeah, I get that.
Axel low.
So the conversation continues on free-to-play fighting games. Is it possible? And Slash, I don't know if you've added your input on it. What do you think? I don't know if I've heard your thoughts, or did I talk over them, or are you in agreement with a lot of what I said?
We've got you ready. Here comes Daredevil.
Would you be all in? Would you pay anything for any of the microtransactions? I'm about to play as Chip named McLovin.
Mankind. Duel 1. Let's rock.
Excellent. So what I'm thinking of doing with my new free-to-play Fridays is we're going to intermix, you know, something long-term play and like a fighting game in there, right? Brawlhalla is going to be one I want to look into. Oh shit. Oh shit. You deal with that, sir. Come on now. Fair enough. Chip, with the undeniable power of making you feel stupid. Okay. Okay.
Duel 3. Let's rock.
Okay, good now. Yeah, free to play can be done. I like what Fantasy Strike does in the most ideal format is it makes it easy, very easy to game. That's why not a lot of games are like.
Let's rock.
Now, monetization on Fantasy Strike, that was like some kind of private game, I think was one of the things, or something like that. Something weird was money gated, aside from costumes, obviously. You gotta do skins. Like, monetize the hell out of skins. That's gonna be a thing. Right?
Duel 2. Let's rock.
Damn! Unlocks friend matches to the base game. You can't just play with friends without paying for that. Fair enough. And if you're looking to just get in a rank, that's actually not a bad thing. Like, that's a minor thing at best, right? Come on. Yeah. Truth is, if it's important enough, it's worth like a couple bucks for a few things here and there. Why? Doesn't look like it. Or it was there and it failed. do you change that? Oh, okay. Damn it.
Positive bonus. Positive bonus. Thurs max.
Okay, I'm gonna just wear out my fingers if I keep this up. Where are we at? It's 11:30. Really? I know there was one, it was crouch, square, and then like follow up, but gotcha. Have I not done that one by accident at the very least? I know sometimes I tend to go low 5. Tend to go 5H. For a bit. Feels good now. Blump. Oh yeah, it just takes like half health on some guys, eh? I gotta line those up better, man.
Are you ready? Here comes death.
Go, Amelia! $452 drop frames. What's the matter with you today,
They
OBS?
cannot change society. Duel 1. Let's rock.
That's what you're waiting for, eh? It is.
Let's rock. Slap. Duel 3. Let's rock.
I feel like we've played this Amelia before. This isn't the one that moved around us, but this is the one that was using cross-screen dashing kicks. Okay, fair enough.
Duel 2. Let's rock.
Why would I be offended? You're the one who's usually offended by me saying I'm at the lower levels. Yeah, melees are all show-offs. Like the camis of this game.
Duel 1.
I know.
Let's rock. Welcome.
Oh, we'll just sit in the lobby now. Oh, come on. This machine is broken! This port is closed. Oh, it's almost midnight. Almost reaction. I think, do we want to focus more on fighting games still, or do we want to go berserk mode today? Oh.
Are you ready?
We'll see what the night brings us. Definitely not watching Super Eye Patch Wolves. This is like 2 hours long.
Mankind you that they can.
I had something in the post-strive links recently.
So instead of duel one,
Ah, you still have that.
let's rock.
Oh my god, the rollback frames.
Duel 2. Let's rock. Slap.
That's what I meant to do. Pay no attention to my joystick movements. Let's play rollback chicken. Okay, cool. Do you want to deal with it? Let's go.
Let's rock. Duel
All right.
2. Let's rock.
Whomped.
Slap. Duel 1.
Get chomped.
Let's rock.
Okay, that's real low. Oh, I got a little early on that one. Whoops.
Duel 2. Let's rock.
Yeah, that was on me. All right. I want to see something. Do a quick revisit on Eno because it's been a bit. I want to see where I stand with her. This guy's gonna be like, "Oh, you want to come at me with your main?" Yeah, I do, but not for the reasons that he thinks. Just for at least a round, right? See if I've lost it or... What the hell, bro? This is nonsense. Stop running from me. Are you dodging me, bro? Okay, fine. We'll just do this. Oh, you'll fight the May. I see how it is. Yep. We're gonna have to get used to that again. See if... I just want to see if it's muscle memory or if it's, where we stand with it, right?
Are you ready? Mankind knew that they... Duel 1. Let's rock.
You know what is really weird? The supers. We've been using a double quarter circle for a bit. Got it. Yep.
Duel 1.
Only took me 2 tries on that one. Fair play. I don't know why I tried that. Fair enough. I got a little discombobulated there.
Duel 2. Let's rock.
want to talk about that one.
Duel 3. Let's rock.
Oh, fuck. Made an attack beforehand. Fair enough. Come on, dude. Just hit that X button, man. You can do it. I believe in you. Bro! One more. We're 1-1. Come on. Come on. Do it. Oh, wait until the last second. He kept me.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
れはノイズなんだよ。
That was a 6P moment, JC. Enjoying this.
Slap. Duel 2. Let's rock.
No! That's the time you get it? Fuck! Got him.
Slap.
I still have a problem with the, yeah, I don't know why he didn't continue to block, but I feel like a lot of people see that and, like, think, okay, now is the time that I can take advantage. Because there's that opening in the midst, like, it goes up, and then just before it hits the orb, it's wide open space. And I see a lot of guys, a lot of people try to catch that opening and do something. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. As always, I'm really enjoying myself in this game still, so I'm kind of glad I'm not burning out on it. Though there is going to be a moment where at some point I kind of have to give it a break so that I can catch up on other games here and there. But today or next week, this month is not going to be it. Just give me a second to do this here. I hit my PlayStation 5 into rest mode. Now, we still have last week's fighting games with an empty wallet. If that is something we want to keep in the barrel, or if we want to watch that now and talk about that, or find something else. Oh, it's only 15 minutes. We can find some half-hour Berserk content. We'll do that. How's that sound?
Now the sun has come down the chimney and used
chill the fuck out there. Volume. We can do both. 15 minutes will probably take about a half an hour to react to. Just give me a second. Post guilty gear drive. Just chatting. All right. And then we go to, we don't have the setup for that. All right. So, fighting games for an empty wallet. See what you can do with no money. No money, no problems.
Now that Santa's come down the chimney and used the last of his holiday spirit to usher in a new year of mediocrity, you might find that along with your enthusiasm for the future, your wallet has been emptied.
Can we talk about Santa fighting Jesus right now off the start here? Like, did I walk into a South Park fighting game again? Whoa, I accidentally muted it. Sorry. Why did they put the M button so close to...
Your enthusiasm for the future, your wallet has been emptied. And with an incoming economic recession to make medieval peasants thankful for their income of wheat and the Black Plague, you might be looking for some free entertainment.
This actually,
whilst you can settle for League of Legends or whatever gacha mobile game garbage is crawling through my emails, some of you might be looking...
Let me just make sure we're running on.
For a fighting game to play. And so in between writing hour-long videos about the implications of walking forward and videos that will likely put my reputation in suicidal freefall, I thought I'd at least recommend some games that have a bit less of a financial barrier. Consider this a bit of Leon Massey filler. If some of you will scream from the mountaintop to watch One Piece when it's 70% repeated footage and nothing, I'm allowed to go to the top of my hill and show you some games you might like. Unfortunately, I'm only going to be talking about legally free games, because even though
we all know Fight Kid exists. Everybody needs to chill out.
I'm basically an OWL PNG away from identity theft right now, I can't encourage you to participate in a service that allows you to access games in ways that aren't strictly speaking legal, even if I do think they're vital for people experiencing the large majority of fighting game history, but, you know, I'd never used them for myself, that's just my opinion. Unfortunately, when it comes to fighting games, there's not a huge amount of free games, because even if games like Tekken 7 have a shop that would be easily transferable to a free-to-play format, Bandai Namco would rather that be a fantasy. Strike is probably the simplest fighting game that you can play without dive kicking into the technically alternative category. Its goal is to act as an introductory lesson to fighting games, although I feel it's better as a more relaxed version of your favourite positionally focused fighters. Due to no run, one type of block, and very limited character opportunities, it has a very focused goal to show you all the potential opportunities of each scenario, which makes it a very easy to understand fighting game. There's very few tricks in Fantasy Strike, both in terms of the characters and the systems. Without complicated meter, movement, and blocking, it tries to place less focus on the game's systems, but the characters' tools and engaging the player to player. And whilst this makes for a game where you could say that occasionally characters don't have dynamics but rather destined roles, I don't think the goal is to allow the player to have very defined styles. This is the zoner, this is the grappler, this is the character that changes how they want to play based on the random items that spawns, regardless of who you really are. Nobody is showing up to a tournament for this game going, "That's the Fucker 69, because the characters don't have enough tools to allow the player to shape their own way to play, but also because the player base is so sparse that you'd assume that they'd all been on the receiving end of a petrol bomb inside of that same tournament. Any player expression comes from the character select and subtle use of systems. I'm
going to say this about Fantasy Strike. Though it is a simple game, it does not deserve to have as small of a player base as it seems to have. And honestly, more people need to be playing this game. And I wish I had more people that I was talking to. Don't get me wrong. I love you, Slash. But, like, I feel as though it's a game that is so, like, out there and, like, such a good introduction. I mean, we're not, obviously, and we did have some people come into the chat while we were playing Fantasy Strike, so I feel like we're going to revisit that game pretty soon. I think that's on the soon-to-be, like, market for me. Anyway, carrying on.
The case that this guy likes to use a lot of meter is the case that this guy likes to walk forward for 30 frames instead of the usual 32. It's fortunate then that Fantasy Strike boasts the title of allows you to actually find a game with crossplay between all of its platforms, so that if you're trapped on We Hate Our Inhabitants Island, you can still engage with a wider array of player choices. It's a little odd to me that crossplay is a bullet point to mention in this day and age, and I'm assuming that the game was built with crossplay in mind, but to me it seems like a bit of a fuck you to Bandai Namco, since the game that looks like it's got a budget based on pistachios and toilet paper and the game about literally fucking Power Rangers has networking that should have been standardized years ago. And it also boasts a pretty decisively fair free-to-play model, so long as you're not one of the people to get caught up on the fact that you've only got a limited time to make your rock look slightly different from the 40 other rocks that play this game. Despite a lack of individual character expression, they allow you to play everyone from the start to keep you from getting stuck with the funny coughing fish and dropping it based on the fact that the full video left you scarred in ways that you can't fully understand, so at a minimum you can find a character that you like. Every character is also really unique, and though most draw clear inspiration from one game or another, there's a lot of engaging little game plans to make without having to resort to thinking about intricate option selects or how to develop a combo that's the most optimal damage scaling in equal proportion to the amount of time that I'm going to have to spend perfecting it. They took the traditional life bar and segmented it to make it more clear how many engagements you have to win and how different types of win net you different rewards. However, even with the simplified systems, they still made strides to make it so that you have some of the core fighting game concepts. You might not have a high-low block, but you've still got cross-ups to make it so that you need to think about what way you want to block under the right circumstances. You've still got tick throws to thoroughly annoy your opponent. You still highly benefit from fundamentals of the genre, but probably won't be developing your own tech to truly rock the boat, which is why I think for quite a few people who already enjoy fighting games, they found it wasn't too engaging. Although it serves as quite a nice clean slate, its lack of appeal outside of being a simplified fighting game draws quite a few people to come to the conclusion that they'd rather play a game with a more focused set of goals. Guilty Gear wants you to be strong, Street Fighter changes what it wants to be from game to game, Fantasy Strike wants to be friends with everyone, but in doing so struggles to find any appeal outside of the gremlins that need friends to reaffirm that they have value regardless of how good they are as people. I mean players. Enough of the core for me is still there to be engaging, but I'm also someone who's not interested in player system interactions, but instead player versus player interactions in these kinds of games, and to me at the very least serves as a fun experiment on how much you can take away from a fighting game with it still holding all of its core appeal, which is pretty unlike Killer Instinct, which holds a lot of the systems but dramatically shifts combos to make a game that might appeal to a whole new audience. I know it appeals to an entirely different subset of people because Killer Instinct is the only game next to Tekken that's made me have to stop playing mid-match because I was so furious I was going to reenact meat production with my fight stick. But that's putting the game off with a bad start, so I'd like to note that whilst this game is extremely not for me, of every game in this video it's the most polished package with the most content for what I would believe to be the most value. Microsoft also believes this, so much so that they decided to only put the full package on Steam, which costs £30 or whatever your non-Brexit equivalent is. The Xbox store on PC and console offer free alternatives with rotating characters, of which many of them are incredibly diverse, ranging from so simple that you can tell they weren't made for anyone with the capability of moderated thought.
So, Killer Instinct initially had a really weird model where you started with Jago and then one rotating character, which was a good base, and it was sort of like the League of Legends model, but if they had a bigger variety of characters, they could follow the League of Legends model right out of the gates and be like, here's the one you get to own, and here's your rotating multiple champions, or multiple fighters, and go from there. I think that is a little bit more open-ended for people and gives everybody a mixture of things to try. You know what I mean? Different types of fighters, but neither here nor there. Whoops.
And others making me question if I'm engaging with some kind of cosmic horror. In many ways, the characters are actually quite similar to Guilty Gear in that whilst they might have similar goals and utilize universal systems very similar.
I think this is why Project L is going to be one of the best free-to-play, if it's free-to-play. If Project L is free to play and it comes with the League of Legends miasma of characters, they have it. They have the free to play model. If it's free to play. I hope it is. It really should be. But yeah, 100%. If they just follow the League of Legends model and just put it in Project L, my God, would they have a winner in hand. Because, you know, and guys like me will still be like, give them all to me, right? In like a package, right? And, you know, that's the other thing too, is DNF Duels going to be free to play because it's based off of a free to play game. That's their model, their audience, right? So are they going to follow their audience, their pre-established audience, be like, look, we didn't charge for the last one, why would we charge for this one, right? I guess it depends on how core they want Project L to be as an esport and as a big part of like gaming. If they, I don't know if DNF Duels is going to be free. I'm saying do we even have a model for DNF Duels? Like, Okay. Never mind. I want to check if it's available on Canadian Amazon, though. That was an American Amazon. $49.99 American would be a lot of money. Yeah. You guys are getting one right out of the gate. It's not fair. It's there. It is. Okay. That's still not a full price Canadian full price game of $79.95. Well, we kind of have a date. Oh yeah, we already had a date, didn't we? Anyway, I'm gonna take this over to this window and pre-order my copy of DNF Duel. Alright, we can continue our video.
Similarly, they'll all get to that achievement in very different ways. Some characters are dead set on zoning, but others are hard-hitting simpletons, with others acting as a mix of the group. Some of them are extremely unique and can't be found in other fighting games, some of them are tropes so hard that they wear their influence less on their sleeves and more wear them as a skin suit. But in the end, all of them want to build up your grey life, which is potential damage which gets taken away after getting hit by a heavy ending combo. In order to make it so you can't just mash away on people with combos that build up grey life really fast and kill your opponent immediately, Killer Instinct introduces combo breakers, which act like a really strange burst alongside its bizarre combo system. Basically, every single combo is a mix of an opener, which is some kind of special move, to an auto, to a linker, and then repeating the last two until you want to do an ender. This makes for combos with much less mechanical complexity than many other traditional fighters, but one that also feels quite repetitive unless you're in tune enough with the game's systems to understand exactly
I've always
what it is looking for.
I've always struggled with Killer Instinct's combo system. It's always been fucking bananas to me. Even on the Super Nintendo, where it was just like, do the opener, smash a bunch of buttons, hope for the best, get a 7-hit combo.
Or in each combo. This is because combo breakers require you to guess the next input of your opponent from light, medium to heavy and break with that button accordingly. And what I'm about to say might be a little bit controversial, I wouldn't really know because nobody seems to fucking talk about this game, but personally I really don't like this system. As someone that's got a very slow reaction time, I struggle to identify these situations without having been put in the scenario that leads to it many times. For me, this makes for a game that makes me feel very dumb, as I can't figure out the situation fast enough to ever really feel like I broke a combo on purpose, but also never feel like I got properly rewarded for a combo when it is broken. And when the game places a lot of focus around that combo system, it makes for a game that I can appreciate and enjoy from a game theory standpoint, but not one that I can play for more than 30 minutes without getting really dejected like I failed high school all over again. And that's not to say that neutral can't be engaging. Even though it's not got as many options as my game of choice, it's got enough of a clear goal at the end to make it so that you're constantly playing into the knowledge that any opening can lead to you losing 40% of your life, and so becomes very tense in every moment. They also didn't seek to dumb down any of the defensive game, but also didn't want to expand it either. Block strings might not be exceptionally long or even hard to block, but without any defensive choices like push blocks or dead angles, they still put both of you in a dangerous situation after, since the distance closed between the two of you typically means that you've got to make committal split-second choices after to not put yourself in an offensive cycle. Initially, this might feel like you're being forced into a close quarters game all the time, and I don't think that you'd be wrong about the way that you
Anybody else having a hard time keeping up with him right now?
But as time goes on, you start to realize that the way that you want to play can shift around whatever you want. You just have to work more for the defensively focused ideas. What helps to bring out your playstyle is the characters, and so whilst every character might combo the same, their goals prior to and after that point are different, meaning that there will be a character for you even if they're inside of systems that you don't like. Some of these characters being ripped straight from other systemic universes, making characters like the Arbiter fit right alongside General Ram, who also fits alongside a dog, at least shows the team's ability to make pieces that don't make sense initially fit into their universe. The most frustrating part about Killer Instinct, aside from the fact that I can recommend it but also refuse to play it, is that it seems to have an isolated audience. Whilst the Steam player numbers might not be rock bottom, it's hard to find a game if you've got a mild understanding of fighting games, but also you're unfortunate enough to be located in Europe. Not because the netcode doesn't make attempts to make long distances less noticeable, but because any connection that doesn't have teleporting like a 1980s sci-fi tends to either have players that are either fully engrossed in the systems or players that seem like they've never picked up a controller, normally the former. platformer. Normally I wouldn't have a problem with this, but the combo system along with the break system requires quite a lot of time to get used to, and so having someone around my skill level to develop my understanding alongside feels like a requirement rather than a luxury, as someone who doesn't find training mode particularly engaging but also isn't smart enough to figure things out mid-match. I guess this is the greater problem of getting into a game that's now 7 years old, but with a player base that's so inconsistent it's really hard to find engaging games, which might be solvable with things like Discord, but I don't think it should be the end-all be-all of how to find a game if it doesn't have to be resorted to. Unfortunately
that is always the thing. So often in conversation about a game or an audience or anything like that, I always run into that, well, you could always do this thing that is outside of the game that requires you to jump through X hoop, download this application, get your voice set up in here, give them their fucking numbers, and do that and that. Like, okay, cool. So you found a fucking room full of sweaty nerds who all play this game in one area. And I gotta jump through hoops to fucking find them. That's that. And when I initially say, like, motherfucker, I just said the game itself. So for instance, when we were playing Melty Blood, right? I probably could have been hunting for Melty Blood social groups or whatever. But the point was, when we jumped into rank, nobody was there. And that is a massive problem with the game audience sometimes. And that's something that I feel like could get fixed with some of these games getting free to play stuff. Also, Melty Blood has an update that everybody's losing their mind about that I got to look into. I don't know. I was shocked by it too. But seriously, when somebody turns to me and says, when I have said, hey, this game has this problem, where it's usually the audience or the player base or something in that degree, and they turn around and say, well, if you do this thing that is not directly from the game, that is stepping out of the game still has that problem. This was a problem I ran into. I tried to explain to people when during the pandemic, my tabletop game HeroClix, and there's no digital version of the game. Okay, there's a digital version of Magic the Gathering that's playable. That was a reasonable alternative during the pandemic to the tabletop. Reasonable, not one I liked. I got my reasons for that. That's another conversation altogether. That said, people would settle for using Roll20, which is an online tabletop role-playing game tool, where you jump in and you chat and you talk about your D&D game, and you have grid systems, and your GM can use, or your DM can use the map to show you where everything is in lieu of having minis, or in lieu of getting a bunch of fucking people in the same room who can't seem to schedule anything for their lives. If you ever played D&D, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Right? Good tool. But I don't want to play HeroClix on it. And I don't want to play D&D on it, because that's not the experience I'm looking for, right? That is settling, right? I don't like settling, and I don't like stepping out of the game, right? And so often people get... We're going to finish this video. I'm going to go on a rant about something else.
Some games, the official support ended years ago, and whilst other games here might have player stats that look like a fluttering pulse assisted by the life support machine that is cross-platform play, Rising Thunder flatlined and was put in the ground years ago, now only accessible by the maggots that are Discord users, me being one of them. Of every game in this video, this one's my favourite, but hands down the least polished, with many extremely questionable balance ideas, with an archaic lobby system without the ability to even spectate, no tutorial or ways to watch a match back. Now even less polished, with the find of 2 characters that were never truly completed but technically playable, and since we're a free spirit unbound by the shackles of developers and common sense, we don't have to conform to ideas like finished animations or having characters make noises. Rising Thunder is probably the closest game on this list to more conventional positioning based fighters, having limited airspace and walks, but also somehow plays quite similarly.
This looks like it was a good idea that could have been great as a free-to-play game, but just...
I wouldn't describe the knockdown situations in this game as tough like a brick wall.
It doesn't look
made of
iconic.
confusion,
None of the
like
characters
savage
are
mauling that you've repressed into the back of your memory so that you can look at your Pomeranian
big
without bursting
robot
into
with a
tears.
mohawk,
With every
sort
character
of.
being built to be
Big
able to work
robot
off the
with
small
a
knockdowns
flaming
to create
head.
deadly
They
OP
kinda
can
look
be
like,
hard game to find your footing in.
low
What
rent
doesn't help
Mega
is a
Man
resource
bosses.
system that acts like an almost reverse X Factor, in that if you're losing, you're probably never going to have access to your most important blow-up tools, but if you're winning, you're given extra combo damage and pressure in kinetic advance along with a universal reversal. And while I can understand that for many of you that might have sounded like a good thing, you might be surprised at just how much you've been conditioned into thinking you're good when really you took inflicts 70% damage, so the game decided that you've earned the button that lets you take 40% of theirs. That's not to say that it's bad, it's just an ego check that some of you might not be ready for, and if you're anywhere near as frail as I am, that might lead to a game that's...
That sounds like a great mechanic. Oh my god, they're beating me. Oh my god, they're beating me. Oh my god, they're beating me. Emergency button. Fuck you! And you're like, oh, you got me! Yeah, you got a little greedy there, didn't you, buddy?
Frustrating to play that never makes you feel like you're given a chance. Due to the lack of the game wanting to throw you away, the game does have a unique sense of control when you are in the driving seat.
Which could explain why they're still working on it. Because they're probably working on the systems. Like, obviously, they took this, which is your base combat, flipped it into a tag fighter, and flipped it into a tag fighter and are putting League of Legends things in it with Riot. Credit where credit is due, bruh. Riot has some good fucking people working for them. Not morally good. There's a lot of shitty people apparently that they need to fucking clean out still. But Riot does seem to have some really talented people working for them as far as devs are concerned. And massive credit to them. They've got a good group. They've nailed, like, I've heard very few complaints about Valorant aside from constant balance complaints that everybody had balance complaints. And they've got League of Legends, like, really, really, really good. So fucking kudos to Riot on having a good dev team that's very talented.
Which I think is rare in a day and age where every game wants to
I wouldn't want to work for them myself because I don't want to move to California, but they're in California, right?
You're a good boy. That said, it's not like the game actively wants you to not play. In fact, it's got its own meter called Kinetic Deflect, which allows you to take away the steamrolling nature of Kinetic Advance in exchange for the opportunity to blow someone back mid-hit stun. It also decided to get rid of a divisive beginner barrier and motion inputs and exchange it for a cooldown special meter where everything is tied to one.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say it. I was kind of miffed because it was free and then buying it just put the thing in the development dirt. Yeah, I get that. And when you're a small studio, if they're in, like, if the situation they're in was, I don't know what the situation is, but if they're in financial red alert and Riot comes along, it's like, you know, we've been thinking of making a fighting game. Can we buy you? And puts an offer on the table. You counter offer with a slightly higher offer to see if they bite. You take that, you pay your people, and you move on. You just move on. And it sucks. It sucks big time. But it's one of those situations that kind of has to happen in a situation like that.
Button. What I just said may have left some of you reeling, but it's designed with these faster inputs in mind. And so what initially might be a question of...
Also, I am a big fan of moving away from motion inputs. For people like for trying to get like my wife into fighting games. Amber loved X-Men Next Dimension, which was one of the early kind of slapped together fighters, but it didn't have a lot in the way of motion controls. It had really good, neat combos and stuff like that. I understand. Yeah, I understand the upsetness about it. I hope you didn't put too much financially into it, because it's more of an irksome thing with a sunk cost fallacy. I don't remember who it was, but we had somebody in the chat for a while who was gung ho about Fortnite, and when it came out, it turned out that he had like the sunk cost fallacy behind him. And it's like, dude, you got to understand, like, you've put a lot of money in it. You are now currently just trying to justify your investment. My God, my mustache color is fucking weird, eh? Just go gray already, Jesus. So yeah, but like, and that's the thing. There's free to play that you haven't put any kind of financial investment, and there's free to play that you have, right? I have put some financial investment in League of Legends, and Smite, both of which are fine, right? But anyway, where I was going with this is motion controls, I think, are a barrier for some. And I think it would be cool to see. What I'm saying is, this League of Legends fighting game, if they keep motion controls out of it, I think I can get Amber in on it because she really liked Arcane. And now we'll have one of the things that's like, League of Legends is one thing, But Arcane is another thing. And if somebody's watched Arcane, it's like, oh, all these characters are from a video game, and you put them in League of Legends. Oh my God, are people going to be like, what the fuck? I'm never doing this again. But you have a game like whatever Project L is going to be, which is clearly taking its aesthetics from Arcane with the playable Arcane characters. Oh, baby! You're going to have a whole lot of things. They are more than likely going with motion controls or moving away from motion controls. So, I missed that, where I was going with that. If they're moving away from motion controls, fucking do it. Do it! Do it! Good.
Design decision becomes an afterthought pretty quickly. And whilst
you don't need them. You don't need them. Motion controls are kind of, they were neat because when the games first came out, you were hiding the fireball, you were hiding the dash, you were hiding the sonic boom, you were hiding the flash kick. Once people found them, and or once you walked into an arcade that had the move set, you know how back in the day you'd walk into an arcade and there'd be like things around the monitor. Sometimes the move sets would be on the bottom of the monitor, right? And it's like, oh, and now right? And that kind of, like, now you start doing those moves, right? And then it just became the thing that we got used to as a part of fighting games. And now that games are starting to move away from it, they're becoming more accessible, right? Grand Blue, when I was playing Grand Blue, I was really enjoying that. Fantasy Strike, really enjoying that. You don't need these things to get people to enjoy the game, and you don't need that skill barrier, right? That isn't really a skill barrier as much as it is just kind of a... It decreases the skill cap, I think. Like, it increases the skill cap. A decreased skill cap gives you more challenge, more people can play. And I don't care if you've worked on becoming the best of Street Fighter because you've got the fucking motion controls down. That's fantastic. But if somebody can come in and move the buttons in a different way, just by pushing the buttons without the use of motion control in a game that doesn't have those motion controls, that barrier is broken down. And now we're seeing what everybody has a chance to be at a fair level. So, yeah. It's been around for so long because of balancing. But that's the way it is. Yeah, exactly.
Some of you might be concerned that this leads to a game that has no execution.
Nowadays, though, when you do make it a one button thing, the balancing is a little harder. It becomes harder to justify a character that has a dash in move versus a fireball move, unless you have like the cooldowns that Grand Blue in this game seem to have. So
it's still got links
and a visible
more complex
cooldown
and so
could definitely go a long
special
way.
Still alleviates some of the executional barrier. I don't think it's enough to make the combo system a non-thought the way that the Fantasy Strike's combo system does. In fact, a lot of comparisons can be drawn between the two games in terms of ideals, and that they both want you to be more immediately engaged with the game, allowing you to spend less time in training mode. But while Fantasy Strike wants to do this by boiling down the systems until you're left with the core of fighting games, allowing you to directly interact player to player, Rising Thunder removes what it deems unnecessary by having a few systems that are easy to understand and snowball into each other, while making it so that the skill floor is lower with less immediately demanding execution. But that seems decisively to be the only thing that Rising Thunder wanted to remove, since the rest of the game plays like Ultra Street Fighter 4, kind of, with less gimmicks and more punishment. That said,
all I want is fighting games to still work with a fight stick, because I still want to smash that button.
less gimmicks doesn't mean that it doesn't try variety, since it's 6 characters that you're supposed to play very differently from each other, but so differently from each other that unless you like these 6 characters, you're kind of out of luck. You've got the Shoto, the Grappler, the Zoner, but I'd argue that they feel a little bit off in a game that seems to have so much reward around bursty offense with exceptional Oki, and so I think that the setup character,
Dude
the
would be
rushdown
so
brawler,
pissed if
and
you
whatever
call
the fuck
a
Vlad's
robot
supposed to be is
Shoto.
much more engaging, since they play into the unique strengths of the game. Because of that, you might find that the game doesn't have any appeal, since it's got no characters that appeal to you. But with an asking price of nothing and an entirely open game from the beginning, I think it's at the very least worth giving a shot. What's a little bit strange about all of these games is that to some extent you could say that they're the fighting game equivalent of alternatives, since they either remove or modify systems that will inevitably turn fighting game diehards against them. And whilst I'd like to wax lyrical and use my massive gamer brain to connect that these free-to-play business models dictated the way that these games were made, this one was made free-to-play in the last year, this one's alternative combo system is a butcher restructuring of a game from 1994, and this game never had a business model to begin with. What I do think is interesting is that all of these games have a unique approach to accessibility. Fantasy Strike wants to remove all of the barriers to fighting games, even to the detriment of appealing to people who like more complicated systems. Killer Instinct wants to make it less frustrating to be put in combo situations by giving you choices during it, and Rising Thunder aims to shift the execution barriers to be more accessible,
Slapping
and also
button
especially
always
more
works.
accessible on keyboards. I guess that it's frustrating that none of the more traditionally appealing fighting games have gone free to play, since many of them seem to have systems that are ripe for monetization. But whilst we wait for other fighting games to cave and start giving financial handouts, I hope that you found something here that appeals to you and might get you through 2022. Electric Boogaloo. Alright, before I go, I'd just like to shout out Brawlhalla, for whilst I don't really care for platform fighters at the moment to the point where I haven't even played this one, I think it's at least right to point out a potential alternative for some of you Smash players that are currently getting fucked by the big red corporate hate wagon that is Nintendo. It's nice to see a company actually financially supporting events when they're giving it away for free. I'm really hoping that I've actually caught the right end of the conversation
Ubisoft's not kidding you. They're making money off of this.
here, and I'm not pointing
Ubisoft's free-to-play is shockingly effective. I'm going to say that. And it's quiet, but loud at the same time. You have Brawlhalla, which is getting financially bumped by Ubisoft. You got, was it Rainbow Six Siege? Is there other one? That is doing fantastically well. Like, I watch Score Esports a lot, their YouTube channel. And I can't tell you enough how much Rainbow Six Siege comes up. Now, granted, Score Esports does operate out of Canada, and some of Ubisoft's strongest offices are operating out of Canada. They got the Montreal office, Vancouver office, and Toronto office. I won't talk about the Toronto office. I know a lot of really good people that work at the Toronto office. The unfortunate fact is they get stuck with some games that have been in development hell, or just there's a lot of unfortunate things that come out of them, and it's not their developers' faults. A lot of it is business decisions being made. That said, I have a buddy who's really happy with that spaceship one. I want to play that on stream one day. Star Driver. Hold on a second. I gotta figure out the name. I have a copy of it because he hooked me up. We did a game trade. Starlink. That's what it was. That one is really cool. I want to play that on stream a bit. It's like spaceships, Skylanders. You can build your ship and then pop it onto your controller, and then that's the ship that you're using as you're flying around in space and whatnot. No Man's Skylanders is what a lot of people used to call it, but it's a little bit more interesting than that. They use Star Fox for the NES version. I had the PS4 version, so I really want to give that a run on stream, just because, you know, it had a Star Fox tie-in. Like, you could get the R-Wing for the Switch version of it. I have the PS4 version, like I said. So
pointing you in the direction of a shit show developer, but I mean, I'm sure you'll be willing to tell me below if I have. Also, yes, technically Dead or Alive is free, but I don't care. Goodbye.
Everybody shits on Dead or Alive. What happened to that? I gotta find out what happened there. All right, Flash, you got the hookups or what? It's the Hooters of fighting games. Dead or Alive has always been the Hooters of fighting games. Don't kid yourself, right? There's some Berserk content. Let's just do that. See what we come up with. And try to avoid anything from Viz Media. Oh, here we go. With the hookups. The idea of evil in Berserk. Oh, fuck.
The idea of evil.
Evil's got some ideas, I tell you what. This is Anime Philosopher. We're giving them a sub right out of the bait. Give them a like.
God of the Abyss. The
Unless I hate the
ungodly
video, then I'll
god
just-
born of man. Whether you think it's canon or not, the idea of evil is certainly one of the most fascinating characters in Berserk. For those who are unaware of what on earth I'm talking about, the idea of evil is a being who appears in only 2 chapters of the manga, Chapter 82 and the Lost Chapter. It's only present in the last frame of Chapter 82, shortly after Griffith decides to sacrifice his comrades. As he starts sinking through the astral realm, about to begin his transformation, Griffith spots a large being, and the chapter ends with Griffith addressing it, only in question as God? Where we really get to know the idea is in Chapter 83, the so-called Lost chapter. After writing it, Miura requested the chapter not be published in the Japanese or English translation because it revealed too much of the story too soon, and it might restrict what he was able to do in future chapters.
So that makes a lot of sense. And Miura already had a bit of an issue with showing too much. Not as far as story is concerned, but, tell, don't show could have been used a little bit in some of his parts.
So it's in a weird state of canonicity. The idea of evil might be canon, just not yet, or Miura might have scrapped the idea entirely. Either way, it's an interesting chapter and well worth the read. I'll leave a link to a translation of it in the doobly-doo. In this chapter, we're introduced to the idea of evil, the self-proclaimed desired.
How to tell a video is older than 2020 is when they used the phrase doobly-doo, back when the Idea channel was still a thing.
God. He explains to Griffith that he was created out of a human need for reason. People wanted reasons for the destiny that kept transcending their knowledge. It also explains that a part of it resides within every human. Quote, a common consciousness that transcends individuality. Their collective consciousness is a species. I was born from these swells as the ego of this world.
It was so good. And the host was amazing. And it always had such good content. I can only listen to the Greens so much, and Mental Floss has definitely been on the downturn of late, so. Fun, smart shit is hard to find lately. Drowning in stupidity on YouTube. Guilty of it.
I am the darkness that dwells in every human heart, unquote. A fascinating idea, isn't it? Not only the idea that it was humans who created God, not vice versa, but that God isn't a being in the sky, but rather an idea that dwells within all of us. So what philosophical theory or theories is this idea of God based off of? If you go on the fandom Wikipedia page for the idea of evil, it actually says, quote, the idea of evil is an evil version of Plato's theory of forms, unquote. So what is Plato's theory of forms? For those who weren't forced to memorize it in middle school, the theory of forms is Plato's idea.
I'm sorry. That scene, I can't remember what it was that Super Eye Patch Wolf described it as, but it was pretty fucking hilarious. It was like, it was just the implication of homosexuality around it, but I can't remember exactly how he described it, but it made me fucking die laughing. Yeah, the water bucket scene, whereas it was like these two guys definitely not gay for each other, definitely not homosexual lovers, definitely not gay, and then they have this really gay water fight, but they're definitely not gay. Like it was, oh my god, what the hell? It's true though, like the implication is all there and whatnot, but Guts says a couple things in the beginning of the comic where it's like, I don't think Guts is gonna do that. You're 100% mostly right, I think. I feel like at this point it's too late and there's too much couple privilege in between Casca and what's it called? And Guts. And Griff I don't think Griffith could be able to handle that now.
Idea that non-physical forms represent the most accurate reality. Take a cup, for example. Whether this cup is blue or red, has a handle or doesn't, we still recognize it as a cup. It has a certain cuppiness.
Don't say take this cup and don't superimpose a cup picture of a cup on this goddamn thing while I'm getting content claimed by Viz Media here.
Think about it. Every cup is different, but if we were to analyze them, we could
I don't
figure
care. Our
out
YouTube
what
stuff
elements
makes
are
no money,
necessary
so
to make a cup
they can
a
fucking
cup.
claim it all they want.
If we look at the essence of a cup long enough.
Also, I want to point out, yeah, fucking Berserk and the Band of the Hawk, because of all those Viz Media anime sequences in the fucking cutscenes, totally got content claimed. Bastards. Fuckers. I was playing a goddamn video game. It's your fault you fucking put them in the video game.
We could eventually come to a definition of what a cup is. We could create a mental image of what a perfect cup would be. But does that perfect cup exist in our world? Of course not. Plato thought that that perfect cup, what he calls the form of a cup, resides in a world separate from our own, what he called the world of forms. Everything we have in our world, objects like cups and swords, but also concepts like beauty and justice, are just imperfect copies of their form that exists outside of our reality. It's an interesting...
Now, before we get into this, is this confirmed by Kentaro Miura, or is this... Take your 2 pennies, keep them in fact. We don't have pennies up here in Canada anymore, by the way. We can't give our 2 cents. You get a nickel whether you like it or fucking not, eh? Where was I gonna go with this? I was interrupting this because they're talking about shit. Oh yeah, has Kentaro Miura actually confirmed that he was using Plato's theory of form in this situation, or is this what happened with the fucking what's it called? F. Scott Fitzgerald and The Great Gatsby, where he was like, "It's a green fucking light. You ever looked at a fucking dock? There's green lights everywhere. God damn it. There's no fucking money or envy bullshit in this fucking reading of it. Stop being dicks about it." But then that also falls under death of the author. Once you've written it, you fucking don't matter anymore. Your opinion doesn't count.
theory in itself, but I don't think that's what's playing out in this chapter of Berserk.
Oh, okay.
By this theory, the idea of evil would probably be the form of evilness in our world. And that kind of makes sense, since part of him resides in the heart of every human. But the theory of forms doesn't make sense with the...
Yo, also, if another fucking publication says that the Great Sword in Elden Ring is a throwback to the Dragon Sword, needs to get their teeth slapped. The description is very similar to the Dragon Sword, but the form of it is Guts' Golden Age sword, not the Dragon Sword. Slap some fucking teeth around the goddamn internet and tell them to read some fucking manga. Stop making your shitty headlines, motherfuckers.
The idea that the desired god was created
My
by
nitpick
humans.
moment.
Plato certainly didn't think that we invented the forms. The only way we could even interact with them was through reason and rational thinking.
Now.
And it's not as though evil and misery didn't exist before this
Speaking
god was
of nitpick
created.
moments,
On the contrary, he was
got a
born
fucking thing
because
that
humans
drives me
desired
nuts
reasons to
sometimes.
explain the evilness in their world. So I think we can say a solid no to the idea of evil being an evil version of Plato's theory of forms. So what philosophical theories are at work in this chapter? To determine that, we need to go back to the time of the pre-Socratics and talk about the laughing philosopher himself, Democritus. Though he's most well known for his atomic theory, which we touched on briefly in the Steins Gate episode, he is also considered to be one of the first documented atheists. Democritus did not believe in a god, at least a god as we understand it. He believed that humans created God as...
I didn't know that about Democritus. I took a little bit of philosophy in high school and read a little bit on philosophers. It's not my bag, to tell you the truth. But anyway, neither here nor there.
A way to explain the things that they couldn't understand. Things like earthquakes and hurricanes, but also death and suffering. Since they couldn't understand these things themselves, they explained them by reference to superhuman agency. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? It's the same reason that drove the humans in Berserk to create the idea of evil. But Democritus is making reference towards the being that we imagine to be God. In Berserk, the idea of evil is just that, an idea, not a physical being, at least one that exists in our reality.
That's true.
So where did that concept originate? Let's talk about Hegel. And yes, I had to reread Hegel for this episode. And if that doesn't earn your subscription, I don't know what will. George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel was a 19th century thinker who is most well known for his influence on the philosophy of Karl Marx. And yes, if you didn't get the joke earlier, he's famous for being inscrutable in his writing. Many just assumed that he was an atheist, like his pupil Marx, but that isn't the case. Hegel begins with a critique of the ordinary way we think about God. If I were to ask you what came to mind when I said the word God just then, you would probably say some sort of omniscient and omnipotent being, right? But if that's indeed what you imagined, Hegel would say that there's a huge assumption you're making there. You're assuming that God is a being at all. To Hegel, God cannot be a being in this world where we describe ourselves as beings, because that would mean that God is inherently limited in some way. To quote one of the articles I linked below for further reading, quote,
I didn't read Hegel, so I'm going to say this right now. This is kind of the conclusion I started to come to around my first trip to college and to high school, where when you talk about God in the Bible as an example, the Bible itself feels like a book of exaggeration. Because think about how your dad told you stories about high school or stories of old times. And, you know, things are exaggerated. Well, in this case, things are exaggerated in the fact that nobody understood what the fuck was going on, right? And actually, I had a science, or wasn't even a science teacher. It was a Neil deGrasse Tyson talk. He was at like a skeptics conference, I think it was. And in the middle of this talk, he turned around and he was like, look, God is just the stopping point on science. When people stop understanding something, they turn around and go, oh, it's just God. It's just God. Right? Because they don't want to go any further. Right? And that has always been kind of the case where it's like, it becomes a stopgap for science, but it's also, I feel, an idea of lack of understanding. Less than some omniscient being that's looking over us, right? Somewhere morality came into us, but a lot of that is based on self inference, right? I don't like getting hurt, so hurting somebody else probably feels the same way. So fuck it, I'm not gonna do it, right? So like that kind of inherent morality sort of exists. And granted, some people are not going to act like that. That is just weird shit. People equal shit, right? Where sometimes you do need that extra push where it's like, I know this is going to hurt me, so I'm going to do it to you so that I'm not the one who gets it. And then somewhere down the line, we kind of have to come together and be like, that's not such a good idea, right? But so where I can accept the idea of omniscience isn't as an omniscience, but rather as the stopgap for where we can't go anymore, where we can't figure shit out anymore. And at this point, we are way far beyond it, right? We've actually gotten to the point where we're like, how was the universe created in the lack of an omniscient being? And it's like, well, we're all fucking chemistry, and chemistry plus physics equals shit shows up all the time. It's kind of where we're at right now. It's like we're starting to understand, well, okay, maybe we don't need the idea of this person as we kind of get deeper and deeper and deeper. Sorry. I went on my own philosophical fucking turn there.
Truly unlimited, then God cannot be a being, because a being, that is one being among others, is already limited by its relation to others. And
to kind of add a cap to it, Tyson used Newton. And Newton got to a point where it's like gravity. Okay, gravity does this, and then this happens, and what causes gravity? God. He couldn't get there, right? And then the next guy's like, okay, well, hold on. There's other planets. So if the planets have a certain type of mass, and that mass is based on gravity, something has a pull. Well, this is how this works. Okay, well, where did all those things come from? What's handling those? Oh, that's God. Okay, well, what about this orbit thing? And then the next guy created that, and then so on and 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 so on.
Unquote. In other words, God cannot be infinite if he exists as a being among other beings. So then what does Hegel believe God is? Hegel thought that God was just the process of self-determination, the fullest form of reality. Now what on earth does that mean? Hegel had a lot to say on the subject of freedom. He believed that your actions aren't completely free unless you understand why you're taking them. And when you come to realize a way that your actions are controlled not by yourself, but by the stuff around you, Hegel would say that you are more real in that moment than you were before. A being acting independently of its own fruition is more real than one constantly dependent on something else. And Hegel thought that process of self-determination, the power to make a decision for oneself without influence from the outside, was God. And if, like Hegel believes, self-determination does lead to a greater reality, then wouldn't God be the greatest form of reality? It's a thought-provoking idea, but how does it relate to Berserk? The desired God manifests itself in the human world as the concepts of causality and evil, similar to how Hegel's God manifests itself in the concept of self-determination. The idea of evil also resides within every human, the same way the power of self-determination resides within all of us.
Very true.
Now, I'm obviously not here saying that this was exactly what Miura had in mind when he wrote this chapter. This is just a way of exploring the origins of these ideas with some historical context. But we already know that philosophy has a large impact on Miura's writing. Griffith's speech on what makes
Shit like that hurts to hear because, like, we can't ask him anymore. It's like, fuck, that hurts so bad.
Makes someone a friend is right out of Friedrich Nietzsche. In fact, Nietzsche's ideas are all over Berserk. I could probably make a video just talking about that. But we can't be certain on what this story is trying to say until we reach the ending. That is, if we even get an ending. So, what do you think? Is the idea of evil canon? What philosophical theories are the idea of evil based on? Do you think I'm totally wrong? That's fine, this is just my opinion, mate. I've been restraining myself from making a Berserk video for a while now, but I think it's about the right time, what with another hiatus on the horizon. And right after we got Casca back, come on, Miura. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe or check out my last video on the supporting cast of Violet Evergarden. As always, if you'd like to know more about the philosophy discussed in this video,
Nietzsche and Berserk, I am going to... God damn. That's deep. We don't have the time for that, but what I'm going to do... I'm going to hold on to this one.
class in high school or ever watched Good Will Hunting, you're probably familiar with
I'm going to hold on to this one. Because, we don't have the time to get into this because we have about 10, 12 minutes. Next, I'm going to just label it next week. Berserk. Yeah. Oh man, we're getting to the philosophy of fucking Berserk because we talk about this shit all the time on this channel. It's fucking Berserk and Dark Souls. It is talking about later chapters. Dude, I can't complain about spoilers on a story that started in like 1988, and that I'm actively reading. I'm not gonna bitch about it. I've heard some things anyway. Information is everywhere. It's impossible to dodge. Anyway, what I want to talk about is this weird thing that fucking gamers do. It drives me up the wall because it's a complete lack of self-awareness that a lot of people who play video games have when they're so invested in their game. So if I turn to you and I said we had Street Fighter and we had Mortal Kombat. Now, if I turn around and say Street Fighter was this game that came out, and these guys over at Midway saw what was happening in Street Fighter, like, we're gonna make a fighting game too, so it's kind of it's similar in a way of like they're both fighting games, right? And that's generally what I will say. I will present this sort of topic as Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat are basically the same thing. It's one about a church with a interesting. So like they're Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter are basically the same idea. They're fighting games, right? And they're both trying to capitalize on fighting games. Now, you're a Mortal Kombat player, you're a Street Fighter player, both of you hate me for this for saying this, right? Oh my god, they're so different. Like, fuck off. That's not what I'm talking about, right? And this actually occurred, this is something that came up when I was in game school. Now, this guy is a guy who was very invested in Counter-Strike, okay? And I had offhand made a comment that it's like, well, Call of Duty 4 was just capitalizing on what made Counter-Strike very popular so that they could get into the game of multiplayer. And this son of a bitch gets so angry at me. He's like, they're not the same fucking thing. Like, okay, you gotta calm down for a second and listen to the words that I am using. Right? I am saying that Call of Duty 4 is the same thing of Counter-Strike in that they're both modern era based shooters. Then he starts getting into the mechanics again. It's like, you're still not fucking listening to me. You're over invested. So I'm going to tell you again. They're the same thing because they're both modern shooters. Both have an AK-47 available to use and both have an M43A. That's as deep in the mechanics I want to get because they both take place in the modern era of shooting and shooty stuff. And he couldn't fathom this. And like, I wish I had a bigger player base to say this. Listen when people are talking. Because whether you fucking want to believe it or not, all shooters are shooters. And you're not helping the conversation when you get into the minutia of gameplay. The minutia of gameplay is your problem for the game that you're playing. That is like the big conversation I want to have. Like, when I am talking to you about Street Fighter and we are talking about the mechanics of Street Fighter, we are talking about the minutia, okay. Now, if I turn to you and say, what's the difference between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter? It is reductive to say they're the same fucking game. No, they're not. They're mechanically different. But if I turn around and say they're both fighting games that showed up in the 90s, I'm not wrong. Right? So they're same in that, right? Yeah, exactly. It's understanding the conversation. And it happens so often in conversations that I have with much younger gamers and, you know, people outside of the industry as well. Like, when I'm in the industry, we have the conversation. It's just like, yeah, it's like this, but it's this, right? And for instance, like, I just started playing a game in a series that's like the game mechanically, minor differences, but it's, if you like these ones, you're gonna be fine with it. I dodge when it's games that my company as a whole has worked on, so I'm not gonna get into details on that. But yeah, getting back to where I was going with this is that sometimes I find that as well, gamers just will also miss what I am trying to say to please themselves as well. And I don't understand where that one comes from. So, as an example, when we had, I can't remember who he was a player from France who was a big fan of Fortnite, and I had a kind of an irksome issue with what went down between PUBG and Fortnite, and like how it was a little suspect in the way that it happened. Now, I feel like I need to qualify what I was trying to say, because I feel like I got caught in arguments on the chat on a regular basis of his like nitpicks, like, no, you're missing it, and I never got there. One thing that people miss is when you're using somebody's engine, you gotta read those terms of service. Like, when you make a video game, if you use somebody else's engine, I'm sorry, you've got 1,000 pages of license agreements to read. You gotta fucking read them. You gotta be very careful about that stuff. Because a big thing that occurs when you say use Unity or the Unreal Engine is there's always those lines like, when we support you or any of our support, probably like the ego thing, I must differentiate this thing attached to another thing that isn't as good. Yeah, exactly. So when you get support from Epic Games when you're working with their Unreal Engine to create some kind of new technology, they're allowed to use it. It's in their license agreement. It's like, if you're using the Unreal Engine, we help you make something work. Well, that code is as good as ours. They use wording that basically allows them to say, hey, you know, oh, you figured out how to take the Unreal Engine and make a 100-person server that allows you to make a battle royale game? We're going to put that in something now. You know? And that is why I got a little, like, when the game first, when Fortnite first announced Battle Royale mode, I was like, oh, they did that fucking thing, didn't they? They used that clause for this, right? Because PUBG did try to sue, right? So, and like, they felt slighted in this manner because it was a little irksome that they turned around and was like, well, we have this game, it's not doing so well, let's make it free to play and just put their game in it effectively, right? Now, granted, yes, it's PUBG with Minecraft mechanics. It's a fucking battle royale shooter. I don't care. Make lipstick on a pig. It's a pig. It's a battle royale shooter. Apex Legends, Fortnite, PUBG, the Call of Duty game mode that exists that's for it. They're all battle royale games, and they're allowed to be battle royale games. Mechanically, they'll be different. They'll all have their neat little things, but they're all battle royale games that kind of showed up off of this thing. So, you know, I think where I'm going with this is understand when we talk about games, there's a lot of layers to video games, and the conversation can get wildly minute when it doesn't need to be, or when that's not the conversation we have. Yeah, and I think I wish, like, I'm gonna highlight this, download and put this specific part on YouTube, because I feel like not enough people have this conversation correctly, right? So, yeah, so many people can get lost in the weeds in defending what they like, and this is what leads to things like the console war. You know, oh my God, there's so much on the Xbox because of Xbox Game Pass. I have a PS5. Oh no, PS5 is better for the. Well, you need to chill out, sit back, and realize you bought a system. You're gonna play your games on your system. You're gonna like your fucking system. Enjoy your goddamn system. Don't get caught in this shit. Don't get caught cheerleading for big corporations because of that. You know, play your games. Enjoy your damn games. And when we have the conversation, pay attention to how the conversation is being had. Okay? Do not, when I talk about the genre of a game, don't tell me about the mechanics. That's not what we're talking about, right? This game over here is a loot and shoot role playing game. This game over here is Destiny, Borderlands, both loot and shoot role playing games. Oh, but they're so shut up. They're both loot and shoot role playing games. Fucking Diablo is a hack and slash loot and shoot fucking role playing games for all these fucking $1 million companies. Don't need you fucking backing them up, and you don't need to get caught up in this kind of thing. They're different mechanically, but they're the same fucking type of game. And even the original Borderlands developers fucking recognize, like, hey man, we love Diablo, and this is the kind of thing we want to do with a shooter. So why the fuck not, right? So. Don't get caught in the weeds. Don't get caught in the wrong part of the conversation. Pay attention to where the conversation is going. And when somebody's not necessarily being reductive when they turn around and say X game is the same as X game when they're not talking about the mechanics. Anyway, that's kind of my rant that I want to let off every so often. And I've had that conversation way too many times, and I don't want to get caught in it again. So I want to put it out there in the world. Just fucking go. Just have fun. Enjoy what you enjoy. And pay attention to conversation. We want to get into the mechanical differences, get into mechanical differences. That's going to be the conversation that you're having when you're talking about the mechanics. Anyway, I don't know why I needed that rant. I need to get that off my chest. But in the meantime, everybody have yourself a good night. It's Get Good or Get Fit tomorrow. We're going to start Strangers of Paradise, the Final Fantasy game, because I did not like Lords of the Fallen. I'll get more into it tomorrow. I got to hit the washrooms. Everybody have yourself a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow to Get Good or Get Fit.